Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Today is Tuesday, December 6, 2022. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. We are live at the Marriott Marquis Hotel in Atlanta, where Senator Raphael Warnocks will assemble all of his supporters tonight, where he hopes to have a victory speech in his runoff against Herschel Walker. Millions of folks have voted in early voting. More than 1.3 million have voted today as well. The polls are still open. We'll break down this particular race and talk about the impact of what happens if Warnock wins or Walker wins. Also on today's show, the Trump organization guilty of fraud. That is from a New York jury. We'll also discuss that on today's show, and more criminal referrals for those domestic terrorists on January 6th, plus an update on the trial of the former officer who shot and killed Atatiana Jefferson in Fort Worth, Texas. Folks, it is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah.
Folks, we are here in Atlanta at the Marriott Marquis Hotel, Ballroom C, where Senator Raphael Warnock will be holding what he hopes to be a victory celebration in his U.S. Senate runoff against Herschel Walker. Folks have been going to the polls beginning at 7 a.m. today. The polls are still open as we speak. And again, if you're in line, if you're voting right now, if you're in line in Georgia as we speak, remember, you can stay in line. It does not matter if it gets to 7 o'clock. As long as you are in line by 7 o'clock, you will be able to vote. Folks, today, all across Georgia, folks have been in long lines. There has been bad weather all across this state. We drove in from Savannah to Atlanta. There was fog. There was rain in different parts of the state as well. You see some of these shots here of folks, of course, voting in sunshine. Look at the long lines that existed. There were some issues in the polls today as well. But according to the Secretary of State's office, some 1.3 million people have already voted. Now, remember, in early voting, 1.86 million people voted early out of 7 million eligible and registered voters in the state of Georgia. And so you may very well have more than 3 million voters vote in this election. So that's what's going on, folks, here in Georgia. The implications are significant. Democrats already control the United States Senate based upon the results out of Nevada. If Warnock is able to beat Walker, that means Democrats will have a 51-49 edge in the United States Senate. This has been a contentious race. Of course, they only had one debate because Herschel Walker has refused to debate more than one time. Folks have been, of course, going back and forth. You have, of course, Pastor Raphael Warnock, Ebenezer Baptist Church, who won the runoff 2 years ago to complete the term of Johnny Isaacson, who retired, who has since passed away. This election will mean whoever wins tonight will have a full 6-year term in the United States Senate. If Warnock is able to return to Washington, D.C., he will be one of 3 African Americans in the United States Senate, along with New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, as well as Republican South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. Folks, of course, we have been on the road all across Georgia, talking to different people, as they have been stumping for Senator Raphael Warnock, have been in Swainsboro, in Statesboro, in Athens, in Sandersville, last night in Hinesville, Georgia, in Savannah, in Atlanta as well. Also, of course, Fort Valley State, all around this place, really, again, covering this race. Again, major implications, because if Warnock is able to win, what that means is that Democrats don't have to be held hostage by both Kristen Sinema or Senator Joe Manchin. They will have that additional vote, which is necessary to get various things done. And so, again, the polls close at 7 o'clock. Doors here are going to be opening at 7:30. It's going to be allowing people in here as well. We expect an absolute packed house here in Atlanta. A number of people, a number of entertainers have been in and out of Georgia. A number of different people. Omar Dorsey's been out there campaigning. DeLay Hill, Israel Houghton last night, D. Nice, Bishop Vashti McKenzie. Earlier today, Senator Raphael Warnock was actually at the barbershop along with Killer Mike, the one that he owns as well. Our people should be able to pull that Twitter photo up. And so, again, they have been pounding the pavement. In the last week of this campaign, the Warnock campaign has been extremely active out here. Herschel Walker, not as much. But Republicans have been very much supporting his campaign. And so in the early voting period, based upon where mail-in ballots are coming from, based upon turnout in different areas, strong support in Democratic strongholds. And so Republicans are hoping for a massive turnout today on Election Day to put Herschel Walker over the top. Joining us right now is Melanie Campbell, President CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. She's here in Atlanta. The Metropolitan Library is one of the busiest places where folks are voting. You've had a lot of different groups out there, Georgia Stand Up and so many others. Of course, Black Voters Matter. We can go on and on and on. They have been camped out, providing food and water, food trucks, having music, turning voting into a party or a party with a purpose. Melanie, your group has been all over the place this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and today is Monday, and today as well. Give us a sense of what y'all have been seeing today as y'all travel around this city and the state when it comes to turnout.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you for being all over the state of Georgia and helping to make sure our people showed up. You know, it was a little light this morning weather, as you mentioned, was a little inclement, but it's been a steady drumbeat all day long. And so the reports we got, there were a few problems, of course, polls not opening up on time, some polling place changes, working with Helen Butler with the People's Agenda on the election protection work, but then also working with Deborah, of course, with Georgia Stand Up, and Felicia with HBCU Green Fund, and all of the coalition. What's been great, Roland, is like the energy here of all our organizations, whether we're local to national. We all have one goal in mind, and that's to make sure that we save this democracy and make sure that our Black agenda, we're able to have an opportunity to move it forward after this election cycle. But the energy has been high. The young people, we brought students over here on our Power to Ballot bus from Clark, Atlanta, and Atlanta Metropolitan, and they had finals rolling. And this is what I say was the difference, right? They had finals. They left, came back, took their test, and came back, and have been with us all day long. And then they were like, we want to go over and keep pushing to the polls close. So that's the level of energy that we are seeing out here from the voters themselves, but also from activists and organizers. We're using all the power we have, and we got to hold on to that because we know the fight is not over. But I think we're going to win this battle on December 6th. It's historic. It's a historic election. Of course, I'm C3, so I can't say who's going to win, but I think it's going to be a powerful night when it all settles.
As I said, last night I was in Hinesville, one of the blue counties in Georgia, one of the few blue counties in Georgia, and they said they absolutely were excited about turning out. You talk about those young voters. That is a critical voting block. We saw what took place all around the country last month on Election Day. 70% of young voters under the age of 30 supported Democratic candidates. And so talk about your young workers in terms of what they have been doing to really drive those folks to come back to the polls for this runoff.
Well, our Black You Vote young leaders, of course, across the country in the general, but speaking about this runoff, you got folks who like Mary Pat Hector with Black You Vote. She's been working with the lawyer groups with really working to pull the law students and the lawyers together with the election protection and Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda, really honing in on that. Then you got young people who are in these phone banks, making phone calls, doing text messaging, out here, of course, out here with my classmate, as a matter of fact, Deborah Scott, who finished Clark as well, out here on these streets in Atlanta and making sure that folks, because, you know, they passed all those laws and we have to keep finding a way to work around them because you can't hand out a bottle of water and somebody in line. So they're having these parties at the polls. We can innovate, you know, till we get our federal voting rights protected. And it's going to be a hard battle. We've got to keep fighting that battle because we can't sustain, because I do believe what's going to happen, Roland, is when this is over, they're going to look at what we did, and they're going to change some laws again in some of these red states. And I'm just being honest, the Republicans are the ones who don't want everybody to vote, right? That's an analysis and a fact. And so we got to keep finding ways to overcome the hurdles, and then having all these young activists and organizers and young people who just ready to put it all in. I got my own family out here, nieces and everybody, sisters. It's a family affair out here, and people are really, really energized. And there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of love. We were out there with all of us, me, and I was over there with Mark was down here, the Urban League, and of course Black Voters Matter, and all of our NACP, traditional organizations. Until Freedom is down here. We were Tamika Mallory and that crew came down, and everybody's working together to make sure that we get through this challenging election of 2022.
Melanie, one of the things that I have consistently tried to explain to people is that when it comes to where we stand, and I discussed this last night in Hinesville, and that is we have to be approaching this in terms of 365 and not just the election cycle. Because the reality is that, again, more people vote in presidential elections because of the amount of attention that goes to it. Then we have your midterms, you have your major races, a governor's race or a U.S. Senate race, lots of attention. The fact of the matter is, when we're talking about Black power and we're talking about a black agenda, and we're talking about the issues that we care about, we have to understand that we're talking about elections up and down the ballot. DA races, judicial races, water commission, water district races. We can go on and on and on. And so this really has to be a 365 effort because if we only are sort of starting, stopping, then we're not building the kind of coalitions that are needed. And I really believe even after this midterm is over, we have to keep these groups together. And then moving people to once the elected officials win, then push them to say, now it's time for you now to do what you said you were going to do, and we're going to be here constantly reminding you to do it.
Well, Roland, one of the things, we're establishing an institute at Clark Atlanta University. And one of the things that we want to do during Black History Month is have a Black Power Building Summit where we come together to just what you're talking about, where we can take a minute when we're not in the throes of like we are now, and to step back. And you talk about it all the time. We can do the short term, and we got to think long term, so that we're looking at how we're going to deal with building power or sustaining it, or in many cases, defending it, if you will. And how we can work together with everyone still being able to do what they need to do for their individual organizations. But collectively, we have so much more power if we find a way to do that. And so that's one of the things that we started this institute that I had mentioned to you about. And I'll be wanting to talk to you to see if we can collaborate around that, because we do have to do that. But we also have to find a way to be able to take a break, right? And to spend some time strategizing together when we don't have to be out here like we are now.
Well, and the other thing is, and I discussed this last night when I was talking about Deion Sanders, and I said you shouldn't be opening your mouth critical of Deion Sanders if you don't support black institutions. And what gets me is I have these people be hitting me, and they're like, well, the folks, if they give, we're never going to be able to close the gap because these schools are being underfunded. I said, I've never said give to black groups to close the gap. But what we have to also do is be in a situation where our folks are supporting our institutions, because we can't just hope that black celebrities do it, entertainers in the Democratic Party. We're literally going to have to fund these institutions to do the very thing that we say we want them to do.
Right. And we did it on a shoestring, like a lot of our organizations, and that is just not the way. Right. So it's also doing it because we know how much was at stake, but we could do even more if we're able to fund our own freedom, if you will.
Okay. Well, see, Melanie, that was your cue. See, Melanie, I keep telling you that was your cue to give the website where to donate.
Okay. Thank you so very much. I'm sorry, Roland. Unity Camp. If you want to, we're going to continue to do that 365 work. Yes, Roland. Thank you. Now, and if you want to support the National Coalition and our work, our Unity Campaign will be continuing. Go to unitycampaign.org. unitycampaign.org. You can see the work. You can see us coming together, but you also can donate. And every dollar counts. Thank you so much.
And again, so let me add the last piece. And so, Melody, take notice. Folks, there are 25 days left in the month. If you donate now, it's tax deductible. Yeah. You can write off your taxes. So give before December 31st. So, Melody, give the website again.
Yes, and you can get a tax. We're a 501c3 organization. Every dollar you give will go out to make sure that we strengthen our community. And you can get that right off if you do it before midnight through December 31st, 2022 at unitycampaign.org.
All right, there we go. Okay, see, I'm gonna stay on y'all on that. Always
yes,
the website.
You.
Never
You're
leave
right.
money on the table.
You're right. It takes money to do this work.
All right, Melody. Yes, it does. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Roland.
Folks, and the point Miller just made, it does take money. I keep saying this. Those folks are out there. They're not out there for free. Okay, those food trucks, they cost money. The water, the snacks, all those things cost money. And so we've got to understand why it's important to support our own. I'm going to go to a break. We come back. We're going to bring our panel up, have our conversation, talk about this particular race, the runoff, what it means. Folks, don't forget, of course, to support us in what we do. Download the Black Star Network app, available on all platforms: Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Also, join our Bring the Funk fan club. It's so funny. I had somebody who called us earlier today, and they said, I got a $50 charge from New Vision Media. What is this? I said, that's the Bring the Funk fan club. Sister said, I just wanted to make sure. So, folks, your dollars, when you give to this show, it allows for us to be able to travel and cover the stories of the day. And so what you should do, send your check and money orders to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com, Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And, of course, get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available at all bookstores. Get it online and get it today. I'll be right back from Atlanta as we are here, the Warnock Camp Victory Party, covering the runoff here in Atlanta. Back in a moment.
Is it just me? Or does it feel like we've been here before? The whole country's finished voting, and only us left. You'd think Herschel Walker would want to explain what he'd do in the Senate if he actually wants to represent Georgia. Instead, he repeats the same lies, trying to distract from what we all know is true about him. But I think Georgians will see his ads for what they are. Don't you? I'm Raphael Warnock, and yes, we're doing this again. That's why I approve this message.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, inflation is on the rise. Interest rates are high. Can you still thrive during these uncertain times? On the next Get Wealthy, you're gonna meet a woman who's done just that, living proof of what you need to do to flourish during these uncertain times.
These are times where you take advantage of what's going on. This is how people get rich or richer.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Mama always said all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Georgia, we don't need a senator who's against reparations.
Reparations teach separation. Slavery ended over 130 years ago.
We don't need this.
I am with many police officers.
And we sure don't need this.
I want to be a leader like him.
Walker wants to be like Trump and will fight harder for him than he will for us. We don't need a Walker. Paid for by Black Voters Matter Action PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr, we welcome the Black Star Network's very own Roland Martin, who joins us to talk about his new book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. The book explains so much about what we're going through in this country right now, and how, as white people head toward becoming a racial minority, it's going to get, well, let's just say, even more interesting.
We are going to see more violence. We're going to see more vitriol, because as each day passes, it is a nail in that coffin.
The one and only Roland Martin on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, everybody. This is Jonathan Nelson.
Hi, this is Cheryl Lee Ralph, and you are watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered. We are here at the Marriott Marquis in Atlanta, Georgia. This is where the Senator Raphael Warnocks victory party is playing, as you can already see. Let's give me a shot, guys, of the room. So just so you understand where we are in the press area here. And so you've got the riser there with all of the television cameras. You got all of your print reporters and photographers who are right behind us. On the other side of that riser is the space where the folks who will be attending this particular party are going to be. The stage is already set up where he and others are going to be speaking. And so right now they've got on the main wall, they've got CNN up. They should have the Black Star Network up, but they've got CNN up. And so again, there are a number of folks. So this, of course, is the last remaining major congressional race, and so that's why you have so many national media outlets here. A number of your reporters from all over your major news outlets are here. Not sure what other black-owned media outlets are here. I know we're here, which is why we do what we do, so we don't speak for anybody else, but I think we may be the only black-owned media outlet who is here broadcasting, which is another reason why, of course, it's important for y'all to support us in what we do, because this is why it's important to have black-owned media here, being able to talk about this race and put this race in context and provide opportunity to people like Melanie Campbell to be able to come on as well. To the control room, do me a favor. I know Latasha Brown, co-founder of Black Voters Matter, is supposed to be coming to the hotel. Y'all let me know if she's going to be coming by our location. I just got a phone call. Spike Lee has just landed. He's coming over to the victory celebration. I'm going to send him a text for him to stop by and chat with us as well. And so we're going to try to grab other VIPs for them to actually chat with us. But right now, let me bring in my panel. DeMario Solomon Simmons, of course, attorney. Founder of Justice for Greenwood. He's actually here, joins me on set right here. Glad to have him here. Randy Bryant, she's a diversity and inclusion strategist, speaker, trainer, and writer. She joins us from Washington, D.C. And Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA. He also joins us as well. And so, of course, on this night, Mustafa, I'll start with you. We certainly are hoping to see our alpha brother, Senator Raphael Warnock, return to the United States Senate. And I'm sure Omegas and Kappas will be appreciative of this alpha brother.
We're appreciative, brother. We want them to win.
Of course. You always want alphas to win. Mustafa, this has been, of course, Warnock said this the other day, that this is the 5th campaign he's been involved in. He ran for the primary in 2020. General election in 2020, runoff in 2020, general election in 2022, and now the runoff in 2022. So I dare say he's battle tested.
Yeah. You know, our dear brother, Senator Reverend Warnock, has definitely been, I guess he's one of the hardest working men in politics right now, if you really look at the dynamics that have been going on. But it comes from a real place. You know, there's real authenticity in the campaign that he has run. You know, he's run a campaign that's been focused on hope, on opportunity, and on unity, something that we, far too often don't see in politics. He's been building bridges to everyone who's looking for a new set of ways of getting things done. You know, I appreciate his campaign also because he's been focused on those who have often been unseen and unheard and disinvested in, as I shared with folks earlier today. And he's also made sure that folks understand that a 21st century Georgia can look different. And in looking different, it can make sure that everyone is being uplifted. So I appreciate our brother for all the amazing things that he's done and doing it with grace and doing it with style and not getting pulled down into the mud and keeping people focused on that North Star, which is justice.
Randy, I'll go to you. I mean, the thing that with this particular race, and look, Senate races, when you talk about these races, they always are talking about how it's he's running for United States Senate in Georgia. But the fact of the matter is this here. These senators are making decisions that impact all Americans, that impact and all people around the world as well. And so that's one of the reasons why it is important to look at people are traveling from outside of the state to campaign, because we want to see the right folks who are in the United States Senate making the kind of decisions that impact us as African Americans and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I just have to piggyback off what you were saying about his level of energy and how he's battle tested. He obviously is a person that is powered by purpose. People like that, when they're walking in their purpose, don't seem to get tired, because I look at the brother and he's always smiling and, yes, always classy. And I said, he is fueled by, he believes in what he's doing. He has a purpose bigger than himself. And so I'm just very proud of him, and also proud of all the voters I saw outside waiting in terrible weather, exercising their power and their right to vote. And yes, this race, the entire country is looking at it, because what happens will have a significant impact on how our government is run. It gives us some cushion if we can swing things where it's not just a 50-50 split, but we now have a cushion there. It will make our the committees split now. It won't be so lopsided. And also what I think is significant is that it will take away some of the power from some of these people like Manchin, who have been these split vote deciders and have really weighed heavily on the way the country has gone. Now he loses, people like him lose some of that power. And lastly, what I wanted to say is that I think people just are looking at this race, but they don't understand that this does impact the judges that we'll be able to put in going forward, which I hope people are starting to notice that those seats really do matter. Look at what's happening with January 6th.
DeMario, the reality is Democrats are feeling very good about this particular race. When you look at the turnout, when you look at what happened in the early voting, there was a major push. They were very successful in suing the state to ensure that early voting could start on November 26th. Republicans fought them. Republicans fought early voting starting on that particular date, and it was successful. And by doing so, we saw 1.83 million people already vote in early voting. The current estimate of votes today is about 1.3 million. So the reality is more people will have voted in early voting than on today. That also shows why the legal strategy of Democrats was so important, because they mitigated what could have been a major disaster, right, fighting the gerrymandering that took place, fighting the voter suppression laws, fighting the efforts against drop boxes, and not just in Georgia, but they were fighting a legal battle across all fronts. Right. And it wasn't just Mark Elias. It was Mark Elias. It was Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. It was the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. It was Black Voters Matter. It was a number of groups.
Barbara Arnwine.
Transformative Justice Coalition. A number of people who were fighting the legal battle, right, that preceded the political battle.
Right. No question. And because Republicans understand if it's fair, they're going to lose. And so they want to make sure they take away all the fairness of it. And that's where the legal battle comes. So I'm real proud of all those groups you talked about. I'm real proud of the black voters who stood in line for hours. It was raining. We come down here from Tulsa because we want to be a part of this historic election and see the energy on the ground. And the Warnock campaign has run a great campaign. I want to give a shout out to my little mentee, Greg Robinson, who has just been a real part of this campaign. They've done a great job to energize people, get people out to vote, and I think we're all expecting to see a victory. And as a panelist said earlier, with having 51 Democrats, that's going to allow us to move things out of committee, out of the Senate much quicker. That means we can get more judges. As a lawyer, and you talk about the legal strategy, I want to see more progressive judges on the bench that can move and fight this gerrymandering, civil rights violations, and all of the corruption that the Republicans are going to bring when they come into power with the House on January 3rd.
The thing here, again, as we do a countdown to the polls closing, they close in 18 minutes. 18 minutes, Mustafa. But again, if you are watching or listening, if you are in line in Georgia, stay in line. You do not have to get out of line. As long as you're in line before 7 p.m., you will be allowed to vote. I want to stay on the legal piece because you heard me there, Mustafa. Kept pushing Melanie to give the website out to give. When Kristen Clark led the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law before she went to the Department of Justice, I used to do it to her all the time. Kristen always would talk about the great work they do. And I would say, Kristen, you got to hit the website. People have to understand this stuff ain't free.
That's right.
Freedom ain't free. And when I say that, I think back to, again, Thurgood Marshall, the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, the legal battles that took place against Jim Crow. That wasn't free.
Right.
Fighting the Texas Democratic primary system when they broke their backs, that had to be funded.
Yep.
Reading Will Haygood's book on the confirmation hearing of Thurgood Marshall and how black folks put their money together and funded the legal challenges, not once, not twice, but 3 times to break that Texas Democratic primary stranglehold and giving black folks the right to vote. And so I say this all the time to our folks, whether I'm talking about civil rights, politics, supporting HBCUs, that we have to understand that we cannot ask somebody else to fund our freedom. We have to do what freed slaves did, what black folks in Jim Crow did, who put those nickels and pennies and quarters together and meager dollars to ensure they funded our freedom. This generation has to do it as well.
That's right. Facts.
I was raised on the quote that freedom costs, and it took me back to Marcus Garvey. And we remember our dear brother Marcus, how when he started the Black Star Line, as you said, it was with nickels and dimes and our people saying that we are going to invest in ourselves. We're going to not only invest in our freedom, but also in our future. So that's why we have to continue to make sure that we are supporting our organizations. We support our organizations with our time. And for all the folks who are there on the ground, they are a great example of that. But we also support our organizations through our own financial gifts. Some of us are blessed with just a few nickels. And folks, I've seen folks with just a little bit of money who give, considerable amounts of their overall what they have. And then there are other of us who have been blessed with so much more. So if we truly want to be free, if we truly want to have equality, if we truly say that we want to have power, then we have a responsibility in that space to support our organizations who are fighting for us day in and day out. When the election is over, they still there doing what they got to do. So we have that responsibility and an opportunity. Instead of it being a responsibility, let's see it as an opportunity to actually make sure that our organizations have what they need to make sure that we have this brighter future that so many of us say we want for ourselves and our children.
And Randy, look, you worked in corporate America. And what people have to understand, these corporations out here, they are going to do what is in their best interest. A lot of times, the very corporations that buys tables at NAACP Freedom Fund dinners, that support so-called black causes, they are also lobbying against our interest in Washington, D.C. and state capitals around the country.
That's right.
And so we can't just somehow expect that our organizations are going to be funded by corporate interest. We have to understand that, again, we have to have independent organizations that are going to be representing our interests and not that of corporate America, because many times we're diametrically opposed when it comes to what we want compared to what corporate America wants.
People would be naive if they were to believe that corporations are going to spend money to elevate a group of people that has been oppressed since the beginning of this country. So yes, it is up to us. And we would be foolish to look to our oppressors to set us free, right? It is up to us. So yes, as you keep saying, freedom is not free, and we must invest in it. And, I'm sure everyone expects that there are going to be, hopefully tonight is going to be a victory for us. But then starting tomorrow, the plans will begin to say, how can we block this from happening? Just as the brother just said, if things were fair, then we'd win every election. But we know that's not the case. So we have to get ready to fight back, to fight the foolishness that's happening. If we even look at the fact that, people can't drink water in line. So we have to look for what's next, because who knows? And that's going to cost.
Well, absolutely. And I think that, DeMario, as Melanie said, we can expect, if Senator Warnock is able to win, the Republicans in this state are going to go back and try to figure out another way to restrict what took place. Remember, the runoff in 2020, it was 2 months from General Election Day. So then they cut it by a month. Then what they did was they put the deadline to register. If you did not register for the general election, the deadline to register for the runoff election was the day before the general election, before we even knew there was a runoff. Okay, again, by design.
Right.
And so, Randy's cracking up laughing at that one. And so that's what we see. We know how they roll. Yeah. And this ain't a partisan thing. It's factual. They desperately want to constrict. They want to narrow the number of people who are voting, because if you narrow, they stand a better chance of winning. They will admit. I think the guy. I think he just died. The longtime House leader here in Georgia. He said, he was on record.
Yeah, I saw.
If we allow mail drop boxes and mail-in ballots, we are going to lose.
Right.
He said it.
Right. And the whole thing is, this is all about power, and they want to maintain power. And if you see that they will put up Herschel Walker, a person who is not qualified to have any office, let alone be in the United States Senate, that they put him out as a so-called serious candidate just to maintain power, that lets you know that they will do anything to win. They will restrict voting. They will restrict, like you said, water. We talked to a brother in the Uber that was earlier today. He's just talking about, man, I just wish it was easier for me to vote. I'm working. I really want to go vote. And they want to keep those type of people away from the polls.
I mean, here's a perfect example. So they opposed drop boxes.
Right.
And then what they did was, for safety, put them inside the building. Well, if voting is only open 8 to 5 early, and so then I'm working.
Right.
Well, I can't even drop my ballot off because it's inside the building.
Right.
It was, again, all by design.
Right.
And then claiming security where there was no evidence at all of election fraud or any ballots being compromised. And so that's in terms of how they did it. And yeah, they want to make it harder. And then of course they also changed the law. A lot of people don't, again, realize. So let's say you're sick. You injure yourself and you're now immobile. Well, I could not drop your ballot off at the ballot box, even if we're related. Because they would say, no, you have to physically drop it off in the drop box. All, again, to keep folk from voting.
Right, and my mother's handicapped, so I understand that. That's a real-life example that you just gave me. And with Georgia being 56% of those who voted coming basically from Atlanta, from the metropolitan area, this is an urban state now. So they want to make it more difficult for the people inside of the cities, i.e. black people. Because in the rural areas, there's a lot of rural black Georgians, but it's much easier for rural white Georgians to get out and vote because it's not that many of them. So it's more counties, but they're not populated in one particular place. So it makes it so much easier for them to get out and vote. So it's all about restricting our numbers, restricting our ability to maintain power and have a say over this government.
Yep, absolutely. All right, folks, so hold tight 1 second. We're going to go to a break, and we're going to come back. Again, we are talking Georgia U.S. Senate runoff. All eyes are on Georgia again. We were here 2 years ago. We're now here 2 years later. It is Senator Raphael Warnock versus Herschel Walker. Who is going to cross the finish line victorious, Warnock or Walker? Polls in Georgia close in 9 minutes. In 9 minutes. Probably around 7:30, we're going to begin to get our first taste of early voting totals will be released. So we look forward to that. And so again, we'll begin to see the ballots begin to trickle in really after 8 o'clock and begin to pick up speed after 9 o'clock. Now, we're going to be live on the show from 6 to 8 p.m. And then we're going to come back on live. I haven't decided, probably 9:30 or 10 o'clock, really based upon once we see how many ballots are in. We got a lot of people who are going to be, of course, here. A number of dignitaries. Actor Omar Dorsey is going to be through here. I've been texting Spike Lee. He said he's going to drop his bag off and then come down to our location to talk with us live right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. See, folks, this is why. This right here is why you got to support the Black Star Network. This is why you have to support Roland Martin Unfiltered. Because I'm telling y'all right now, I'm looking on that riser. I don't see any of the black-owned media. It ain't no disrespect, but I don't see the Griot up there. I don't see Black Enterprise. I don't see Blavity. I don't see Essence. I don't see any of these folks. But we are here. And so we're the only 2-hour-a-day daily news show. And then, of course, Faraji Muhammad is 2 hours a day as well. And then you've got Deborah Owens, Our Wealthy You. Then you got Reverend Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, Balanced Living. Then you got Stephanie Humphrey with The Pivot. Then you've got Dr. Greg Carr with The Black Table. Then, of course, you got my one-on-one interview show, Rolling with Roland. Folks, no one else is doing what we're doing, and so that's why it's important for you to download our app because we've already surpassed 50,000 downloads. And look, we're moving, folks. We're almost at 1 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. We're at 969,066. I would love for us to have 969,000 downloads of the Black Star Network app, because we own it, we control it, and no one can tell us what to do with it. And so download it on all your devices. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Also, our 24-hour streaming channel is coming. That means that you'll see all of our program in a loop. You will see all the news conferences, the rallies that we cover, the congressional hearings. You'll see all of that stuff. Yo, we are building. Black News Channel failed. We are building the real 24-hour Black News Network. It will be a digital network. It is happening. And so when you support us, this is what you are sowing into. This is what you are investing in. And so when I'm asking you to support us, I told y'all, I told you back in August, we needed to raise $100,000 a month. And that means 2,000 donors contributing on average $50 each. Folks, that's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. There is no other black-owned media company in America that is giving you the type of quality content we're giving you every single day. Not only do we have 5 shows on the Black Star Network, we've got 3 shows in development, a fitness show, a cooking show, and another daily show hosted by a sister. And so, folks, when you give, that's what you are supporting. We have some amazing things planned in 2023, and so we need you to have our back. Send your check and money orders to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Everybody who gives during this show, I'll personally shout you out while we are here. So if you do that, I'll pull my phone up and shout you out. Also, get your copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America's Made White Folks Lose Their Minds. We've already sold 10,000 copies of the books. I want to hit 25,000 copies. And you got to remember, when you also buy the book, look, that money I'm making from the book is going right back into the show. And so that's why it matters as well. And so you can get that book, of course, at all bookstores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go right to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. The link is on the website. Order it through your favorite black bookstore as well. Download your copy on Audible, and so you can do that. Again, this is why Black-owned media matters. We are here, telling our story, pleading our own cause. That's why we're broadcasting live, and we're glad to have you on board. We'll be right back from Atlanta, here at the Marriott Marquis Hotel in Atlanta, at the Senator Raphael Warnock victory party. Back in a moment.
Don't wait till November 8th. We can vote today, y'all. Early vote started this week.
We're on Savannah State University's campus. We will be dorm storming today, giving out treats for everyone. We hope to see everyone at the polls when it comes to November.
If you believe we got power, let them know. Make some noise. Put a fist up. I need to see a fist in the air because we got power. Come on, you put it up. Come get your shirt. We're out here in the streets of Savannah, Georgia. James, do not forget to go vote. I got you. If we vote the right people in, we can make a change. We can get these resources in our community.
I am a woman, and it is important that we have the say-so of what we want to do with our bodies.
We're concentrating on entrepreneurism, providing young people with resources and training that they need in order to change their trajectories. We want Black down.
Democracy is on the ballot. Voting rights is on the ballot. Voting suppression is on the ballot. I am most passionate about those three combined because they all impact each other.
Savannah is my home. I care about my community, and I care about representation in my community.
Our voices are still going to be heard no matter what kind of obstacles try to come up against us to stop us from voting. We're still going to be standing our ground.
I see the effort that's being made to keep our communities from voting. So that makes me realize it's even more important, because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't be fighting to make sure we could vote.
This doesn't stop this year. This is a forever movement.
We're going to exert our power as a people, walk in our rightful place. We're going to change our communities, fight for our communities, and build our communities.
Yo, it's your man Dion Cole from Blackish, and you're watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Stay woke.
That's all right. All right, folks, Roland Martin here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We're live here at the Marriott Marquis Hotel in Atlanta. This is where Senator Raphael Warnock is having his victory party. Doors are going to, first of all, polls in Georgia close right now. It is 7 p.m. Eastern, so the polls close right now. The doors here will be opening in 30 minutes. And so a number of people from Atlanta, from all across the country, are going to be here. As I already said, there are entertainers and activists and other people from all across the country who've been very much involved in this race, who are going to be here, who have been, of course, given their time and energy to re-elect Senator Warnock. Over the past, really the past week, but really, in the general election, but really, like I say, over the past week, the final campaign, the 1 week of early voting, and then, of course, the final campaign. You've had folks traveling all across this state. I mean, I'm talking about you name it, hitting multiple places each day, trying to encourage people to get out there and vote. As I said, 1.83 million people cast ballots during early voting. You've had folks congregating elsewhere. You've had Tasha Cobbs Leonard, Israel Houghton, D. Nice. You've had Killer Mike. This is us when we're Savannah just on Sunday at Toppy Sloppy. And so this is a photo right here today when Killer Mike was with Senator Warnock and D. Nice as well at his barbershop. And so you've seen a lot of energy surrounding this, and obviously being Senator Warnock being African American, of course that's important. You see the black folks have Black Voters Matter. They've had a number of the blackest bus in town. They had a number of their buses that have been traveling across this state. They're based here. I mean, they have been hitting it as well, and so. It really is important, and I can't stress enough. Tomorrow and I were talking about this in a break. I can't stress enough to people why it's important in terms of what we're covering. In fact, I was having a conversation with Maya King. So Maya King, y'all, is a star reporter for the New York Times. She's a Howard University graduate. What y'all don't realize is she actually worked on this show when we first launched. And we were just talking, and she said, hey, y'all are talking about stuff other people are not talking about. She said, people hit me up saying, hey, why aren't you covering the same stuff Roland is covering? And this to me, DeMario, is, again, a perfect example. Being in Tulsa last week, you guys brought us in for me to speak in the live stream at that particular event. Being able to broadcast here. First, I don't think people at home understand. Nobody else has the footprint that we have.
Nobody.
That's first. So I just want everybody to understand.
Not MSNBC, not CNN, not Fox, nobody.
I just want everybody to understand. I'm going to send the photos, and we're going to show you. I wish we had a camera pointing this way, but we got our 3 cameras here. We got our lights. We got our pop-ups right here. Y'all don't understand. Everybody else got 1 camera and a stand-up. That's all they got. So we got a whole setup over here.
Bringing the funk, baby.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you know how I rolled as a black senator, and he an alpha. I was like, look, you can't be giving me what everybody else got.
Right.
But the thing is that this is not about tooting our horn. But I need people to understand on nights like this, we simply can't. Nights like this of a black man. Okay, I ain't talking about Herschel Walker. A black man running for
he's a self-described coon. He said himself.
I ain't even mention his name. A black man who's seeking to get reelected from Georgia, and we're here in Atlanta. This is why we need to be framing this election through our lens, from our perspective. And yes, they've got CNN up on the big screen over there, but this is why we have to be telling our own story.
Right. No question. That's why it's so important for people to support the work. Like you said, just last week you were in Tulsa with us. You're down here. You're talking about the issues, not only that we care about, but from the perspectives that we care about. I'm very proud to be a part of the Roland Martin Unfiltered family, to be here and witness this. I'm so glad I came down with my colleague, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, who's right off the camera here, and just to see people looking at us, right? I see all these other reporters and outlets like, how are they doing this? How are they just in the middle of this having a show while we sitting over here at the table not have anything going on? So everyone that's watching, all of our fans, all of our viewers, this is what Roland Martin Unfiltered is about, and this is what black media is about, and this is why it's important that we support our own, because we can do these things, and that's why it's important when Senator Warnock gets into office, he didn't turn his back on Roland and say, oh, you're not as big as CNN and MSNBC. He said, you know what, I'm going to treat you the same way or even better because you've treated me from day one. We've been rolling with Senator Warnock when he was Reverend Warnock, and then we're going to still roll with him, and that's what it means to be black-owned media, to be black-owned, and to be conscious within our community.
You know, Randy, I've had people hit me up and they say, man, you taking shots at other black media. No, I'm not. I'm just speaking truth. And the problem, see, these people don't realize. I'll never forget, 2000, it was a debate between Al Gore and Governor George W. Bush. Vice President Al Gore, Governor George W. Bush. And I was watching the debate, and I was pissed because I was watching the analysis afterwards. And they were skipping over all these other issues that I thought was important. And I remember calling Mark Watts. Mark Watts is my alpha brother, former CNN national correspondent, and he was a television agent. And I said, Mark Watts, I want to do that by the next election. And it wasn't about ego, I want to be on TV. I was angry that they weren't talking about the stuff that I care about. I didn't get hired CNN until 2007 in time for 2008 election. And that's why people talk about the difference that I made in 2008 for Obama, because I was bringing something which these cats were not bringing. And so the thing that still drives me crazy is on nights like this, we as black-owned media just cede the night to CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and ABC and NBC and CBS. And we sit at home and we hope and pray more than one black person come on. And then, oh, that's one. And the problem I have is, and I work at CNN, the fact of the matter is, tonight, you probably are going to see one black person on each network at one time, and you might see a whole desk of people don't look like us. And I simply cannot tolerate that happening in 2022. But all the talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and that's why my whole deal is, and also let's be real clear, BET not here, TV1's not here, I don't know what Byron Allen's The Grill TV is doing, Aspire is headquartered here in Atlanta, they ain't here. And so even when you look at these black networks we have, they're not here. This is history, and I just think that we've got to have our people telling our story and not hoping somebody else tells it.
Absolutely. I absolutely applaud you, and not just because I'm here with you, but because what you're doing is just quite courageous. I believe oftentimes when we get into a position of power, we just mimic what we've seen white people do, what we've seen what we've seen these networks do. And I think we're oftentimes scared. And yes, we will throw a black person up there, but let's just be real. I always ask the question, does your black friend have a black friend? I mean, sometimes the black people that we even see aren't what we would say are representative of us, okay? It's kind of a Herschel Walker type of person who is not so concerned about our issues, but is concerned about pushing somebody else's issues and agenda and benefiting and being the one black man in the room. And so, yes, I mean, I see it all the time. So I am so happy that you are speaking and covering the issues that we care about, that matter. It's often surprising to me when I talk to my very intelligent friends that they don't know what's going on, because the media is designed to control our conversation, to control our thoughts, to control our votes, and so on. And so, you know, there are stories that you think that would be, you know, front page, we don't hear about. If it worked for someone like you who pushes it to the forward and says, to the front and says, consider this. I'm not going to tell you what your opinion should be, but you should at least be aware of it. But we have to be honest that it is a courageous thing to do. It is something that the people that right now are writing the biggest checks aren't saying, well, bravo, thanks for pointing that out. And here you go. And so you are you're being an activist in some ways. And I believe most people are afraid to do that.
Mustafa, I think about when we were in North Carolina for the EPA event, and we were chronicling those black activists who launched the environmental justice movement. And there was a platform back there. There was no black-owned media there. There was barely any national media there. And there's so many stories that never get covered, that aren't national news. After the next break, I'm going to give an update of the Atatiana Jefferson story. MSNBC and CNN, they ain't covering that story. They're not talking about it. Oh, they're going ad nauseum about the Trump organization being convicted of fraud, but they aren't talking about that black woman who was minding her own business in her own house, who was shot and killed. And it irks me when we gravitate. And Reese Cobra talks about this all the time. When she says to all the blue checks on Twitter, y'all love sharing clips about what somebody black said who work at CNN or MSNBC. She said, but we were discussing that 2 weeks ago on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And just like I was talking last night about with Deion Sanders and how people need to support Jackson State in Texas Southern, in Tennessee State, in Prairie View. And people tell me, oh, well, we don't make, our giving is on par with the other universities. Jackson State, for instance, 6% 2 years ago, now it's 13%, which is higher than the national average. But I don't want us satisfied at 13%. I want our giving rates to our HBCUs to be 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 100%. Because when we are supporting our own institutions, then we're getting the information that we need. We cannot cede this ground in 2022. I've said this before, Mustafa, and I'll say it again. Black America will rue the day when we have to ask non-black people to tell our story.
It's that old adage that no one is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. It's really interesting. And I was thinking about North Carolina, Warren County, North Carolina, y'all, where I rolled up, and who did I see? I saw my brother right there, all set up and ready to make sure he captured that historic story about how our folks fought back, laid down in the roads to stop trucks from coming in, bringing cancer-causing chemicals into our communities. And the elders, who are now elders, 40 years later, making sure that their story was told. We often, unfortunately, allow other people's minimum to be our maximum. And what I appreciate about the Black Star Network is that it's the authenticity that exists here. And here's how I know that is real. Because when I'm traveling around the country, and folks will come up to me and they'll say, you know what, I watch y'all. And when y'all share, and the way that you share, I hear myself in your stories, both in the stories of the impacts that are happening in our communities, but also in the sets of opportunities when y'all bring forward folks who are making real change happen. And that's when you know you got something real. That when folks are saying, you know what, this is what I watch, and not CNN or MSNBC or some of these other things that are well-financed.
Hold tight 1 second. So, first of all, Spike Lee just rolls up talking NBA while we were. What were you talking? Oh, yes, Verlander. Well, don't worry about it. Put the headset on, Spike. Don't worry about it. We got our pitching is so deep. We're good. Y'all, he rolls up here representing the House. Yeah,
Class of 79. Me and Marty.
This your Knicks bag?
Me and Marty were in same class.
MLK the third?
Yeah.
Who paid more attention, you or him?
What?
Who paid more attention, you or him?
He was the class president.
Oh, well, he paid more attention.
I'm not hearing anything.
Huh?
I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, don't worry about that ear. Just do it that way. You listen to me right here.
All
right, so he paid more attention. He's class president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had the legacy.
Well, his dad did go to college at 16.
Well, when he was a senior, my father was a freshman at Morehouse. So
They crossed paths?
He says he saw him,
But he wasn't Martin.
Oh, yes, he was.
He was just Martin.
No, they knew he was groomed. Look at his daddy.
Well, he's an alpha man.
Well, I didn't pledge.
He's an omega.
Hey, you saw School Days. You know I didn't pledge.
So, man, you literally just touched down.
Got off the plane.
And you said, let me drop my bag off.
Didn't even go to my room.
Didn't go to your room. Came straight here. Good. What? Why you showing that?
Because you gotta be reminded.
Do y'all have a winning record?
When we get Aaron Judge,
y'all say now he's switching sports.
It always ends up that way. You and I.
Yeah, absolutely. And y'all do know my Astros beat the Yankees. I did send my man a couple of videos from the celebration party, and I got rid. Did you get the Scarface video?
I'm happy for Dusty though.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So I was with Scarface in Houston, and of course, his song "No Tears," and so we sent Spike a "No Tears" video. You never responded.
I missed that one.
Oh, you missed that one? Oh, I got it right here.
But we're here for more important things.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And I'm here to support my Morehouse brother, the Rev.
My alpha brother.
Yeah, and if I could say this.
You can. Go ahead. This is my show. You say what you want to say.
I hope that I'm praying that our brother comes through. My second prayer is that Mr. Walker go see somebody for CTE, because he's had multiple concussions. You know, I'm doing this documentary in Kaepernick for ESPN, and we deal a lot with this.
I'm in it.
We deal with a lot with this CTE,
Right.
and it's serious. And I just hope my brother Herschel Walker gets checked up, because he has all the symptoms. I just want to say, I'm taking the laugh away, because that's not funny. It's not funny. But to hear him speak.
When he's
you know, high school, you do high schools in concussions in high school, and you get college in the pros.
Right, absolutely.
And nobody was diagnosing that stuff back then.
Absolutely. Spike, a lot of people, I mean, look, they see you on the sidelines at games and stuff like that, but they really don't know. They really don't understand. I mean, and we talk all the time. I mean, you're into politics. You're into this stuff because you understand how it's all connected.
Shenanigans, skullduggery, subterfuge. We've been led astray. Run amok. Bamboozled.
I've seen the movie a couple times.
The trickery and the slickery. And that's what this thing is. This thing is right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Because they're propping this brother up. And they know, even a lot of Republicans even stayed away, because they know that he's not really a serious candidate. And, you know, stuff is too serious to be playing games, you know.
Yep.
You got to get that control, you know.
Absolutely. It's political power.
Yeah.
It's political power. It's economic power. It's all of that. And I hit you up, and when we went together, Jack Robinson Museum, and because we got you in our clip too. We talk about, you know, being part of the issues. We were talking about beforehand. Why? And I said, y'all, this ain't about tooting our horn, but on nights like this, we need us talking about us.
And that's why you
center us.
That's why you're so important. Let's leave sports out of it, but you.
Right.
we have our fun. And don't bring up John Starks either. Game 7.
I didn't.
You always bring it up though.
I didn't bring up John Starks building that brick house. I got you, but I appreciate the brick house he built in Game 7 with my Rockets. But again, the thing here is, I was just saying before that, one, why we have to support black institutions.
Yeah.
I said, because y'all, if we ain't telling our story, if you're not making that movie, if you're not writing the script, somebody else is defining our
narrative. You're not doing
narrative.
what you do too. Include that, because as you know, we cannot let other people put out these false narratives about who we are. You know why? Because we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
But you know what was my absolute favorite?
What's that?
I use it in my speeches all the time.
What's that?
Get an ambulance for Brother Johnson. And the cop comes. All right, you came and got what you want. Now break it up. No, I'm not satisfied. On to the hospital.
That was the late great Peter Boyle played that cop.
That's my favorite. My favorite line is, "I'm not satisfied." I use that in many of my speeches. I'm not satisfied.
You can't be.
And too often, a lot of us are satisfied. I'm like, no, I'm not satisfied.
We go for the okie doke, the short money, no vision.
That's it. Man, you just landed.
Man.
Check into your room. My brother, it's always a pleasure.
All right.
Thanks for dropping by.
You coming to party tonight, right?
Oh, no, we here. We here. My flight don't leave till 6:30. So I got a flight.
You going straight for the party to the?
Probably, yeah. I'm on a 6:30 to Houston to do a walkthrough of a site. I'm on a 12:05 flight back to D.C. laying at 4, do my show at 6, spend 24 hours at home, and fly to Jackson, Mississippi to get a commencement speech at Jackson State on Friday.
Oh, Jackson State. Let's talk about prime time. I want to hear your take.
I did it last night, and what I said on the show last night, y'all can see it. It's already got 150,000 views. I said, if you are mad about Deion Sanders and you do not support black institutions, shut the hell up. And I broadened it. And what I said is there are a lot of people who are mad at Deion, and I said you can have your opinion. I said, but the reality is this here. I said, if you are angry that saying, well, he sold us out and he left, people have said that. I said, but you bypass black restaurants every day. You bypass black cleaners every day. You don't use black lawyers. You don't use black doctors. You don't have a black dentist. You don't have a black accountant. You don't support black media. Then how are you supporting
you can't say
African? That's exactly what I said. And
you
so
can't say.
And so when I posted, and I wasn't being critical of Jackson State, but I had posted a tweet because a brother was coming at me, and I said, don't be mad at Deion. I said, be mad that 87% of folks don't give. Now, Jackson State's rate is 13%, which is double what it was 2 years ago, and I applaud that.
Rate, right?
No. It's giving rate.
Oh,
but I said so. That's 13%, but the other 87% don't send a penny. And what I keep saying is, and again, I applaud what they're doing. I applaud all HBCUs. But I keep saying to black people, I'm not satisfied if it's 13. I want us, and I'm saying if you say I ain't got enough money. If you a Jackson State graduate, a Morehouse graduate, FAMU, say, you know what? I can't send 1,000. I can't send 500. I can't send 250. I can't send 100. I said, send $1 a month.
Don't take it.
I said, send something. I said, because the reality is, and I know this show right here, this show was built because people sent 1, 2, 5, 10, 25, 50. The first,
it adds up,
brother. It adds up. And see, hold up, y'all. Folks don't know.
Break it down.
When you tell folk what happened, first of all, 2 times, she's got to have it, and Malcolm X. It was the same thing. You were doing crowdfunding before crowdfunding even existed because it was folks
had no choice.
That's what happened, and that's why I'm trying to get people.
Don't we
understand.
make a way and there's no way?
Right.
For how long?
Forever.
So we got here.
But what I keep saying is,
the 16, 19.
I'm tired of our HBCUs surviving. I want us thriving.
But you know what? You might add, we lost a lot of schools too.
Yes, we lost a lot of schools.
Right.
And
because they hear about Morehouse, Spelman, Howard, where the other schools like, we're losing them.
And again, we just had
FAMU, Tuskegee.
And for those state schools that have been underfunded, I say we should be funding the lawsuits.
Yeah, but you know what they're doing? That's trickery, where in these southern states they're trying to combine the black schools. That's some shenanigans.
Yes,
skullduggery.
Which is why we have to fight it.
Subterfuge.
We gotta fight that thing.
I want to dominate the show, man. It's good.
No, baby. You can come. Look, you come on this show anytime. You got carte blanche. You just call and it's done.
But all jokes aside, this historic night.
Yes, sir.
Historic night, and as we both know, all 3 of us know, the struggle continues.
It continues.
You gotta keep swinging.
That's right. As they
Ali,
say, as long as there's
Joe
breath
Frazier,
in your body.
Sugar Ray.
Rumble, young man, rumble.
I'm Drew Bundini though.
Bundini,
the hype man. I'm the hype man.
And he was the hype man.
The hype man.
He was the absolute hype man. Absolute hype man. But brother, it's always good to see you.
Thank you.
When does Kaepernick doc come out? When is it done?
We're still shooting.
Dang!
It's been a year.
So, y'all, I'm gonna tell you the last story. So we shoot the documentary. I sit down. I purposely wear some Adidas. Spike's like,
I got the 3-stripe alarm. I'm sorry, man.
What are your Jordans? I said,
oh, can we look at my Jordans?
Yeah, go.
Oh, all right, here we go.
You got them?
I can take them off?
Go ahead. Do what you
They're
want
brand
to do.
new.
No, just step your foot up right there. We'll point the camera down.
Fresh out the box.
Hey,
my brother.
Drop the lower third. Drop the lower third. Drop lower third. Drop lower third.
Fresh out the box.
Fresh out the box.
fresh out the box, just for you.
So y'all, Spike literally looks at my shoes. I said, look, I ain't got no Nike contract. I wear whatever I got for free. And so he sends me a pair of red, white, and blue
Jordans.
I got them.
They're on the show?
I haven't worn them.
Don't wear them.
No, I'm not going to wear them.
Put them next to the Bible. I'm just kidding. Oh, Lord, don't strike us right here. Can I move over here so you don't get struck by lightning?
See, you know I'm married to a preacher. Let me go get some anointing oil and just hit him with it.
Heal me.
Hit him with it.
Heal me. Oh, man.
All right, baby, appreciate it. Tell the wife I said what's up.
All right,
all right, man.
All right, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. That is the incomparable Spike Lee, the Morehouse man, the Knicks fan, and the second place Yankees behind the Astros. We'll pray for you. Better hope what? Y'all already had him. We beat him. We still beat y'all. All right, y'all. See, y'all, you never know what the hell to expect when you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Randy, I heard you over there cracking up laughing. That always happens, Randy. Anytime Spike and I get together, it's always shenanigans that are going to ensue. All right, let me pay some bills since Spike took up all that time. Let me pay some bills here. Y'all, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We are live here for the Marriott Marquis in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Senator Raphael Warnock campaign headquarters. See, this is where y'all got to support us, okay? You ain't going to get that on MSNBC, CNN, or Fox News, or ABC, NBC, CBS, only on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV, and give. So you're checking money over to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Man, this is way...
Georgia, serious times call for special leaders. Leaders you can trust. Leaders who are driven by something bigger than politics. That's why you need to re-elect my friend and your senator, Reverend Raphael Warnock. I've known Reverend Warnock for years. He's a man of great moral integrity, a leader in the truest sense of the word. In just 2 years in office, he's worked to lower healthcare costs for seniors and bring good jobs to Georgia. And he's been a clear voice in the fight to defend our democracy and protect the right to vote. There aren't a lot of people in Washington like Reverend Warnock, and that's exactly why we need to send him back. This is going to be a close race, and we can't afford to get it wrong. So make your voice heard. Please join me in supporting Raphael Warnock for Senate.
I'm Raphael Warnock, and I need you to show up one more time. That's why I approve this message.
On the next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, 'tis the season, tree trimming, party going, and gift giving. And I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes it can be overwhelming, and sometimes it's just downright exhausting. Surviving the holiday season, we've got tips for you for staying sane, solvent, striving, and thriving, and sometimes keeping a little money in your pocket.
2 things just out of the gate. Set boundaries and set a budget.
On a next A Balanced Life right here on Black Star Network with me, Dr. Jackie.
I am on screen and I am representing what a black man is to the entire world that's gonna see this. And this might be the only black man, a representation of a black man that they see. Right. So I am responsible. Right. For how they see black men. And it's my responsibility to, if I am not playing an upstanding, honorable, someone with a strong principle and moral core, to make sure that this character is so specific, right, that it is him, not black men. And I wish that more actors would realize how important their position is as an actor of color, playing people of color on screen. Because there are people that see us all over the world in these different images that we portray. And not everyone knows black people to know, yes, that's not all.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm BB Winans.
Hey, I'm Donnie Simpson.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Yo, folks, welcome back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, live from the Senator Raphael Warnock campaign headquarters here. DeMario's like, yo, that was epic.
It's one of the biggest elections in the history of the United States of America with your black homeboy Roland Martin. And then Spike Lee just rose up in here with his J's on, talking about Morehouse, quoting his own movie. Hey, this is what's up. I'm good. Roanoke needs to win, and this will be one of the greatest nights of my life.
And just so you know, Randy and Mustafa, all the other media was like, what the hell? They were all assembled over here.
Taking pictures of
And then when we got done, they were all trying to grab Spike. So the sister from CNN, she grabbed him, and the Senator Warnock wanted to see Spike. And so the handler, she's like, I got to get him. I was like, tell him you got 2 minutes. So they got about 90 seconds with Spike. We did about 15 minutes.
And that's only because you told him, hey, I know you've just been traveling. He wanted to keep talking.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted him to go rest.
Yeah.
And so, see, Mustafa, this is why when you carry, because just so y'all know, it's a group of folk. We're on a text chain. It's a group of sisters. We always see them at Essence. And the group is called the Bamex Crew. They call me the Black American Express card. Never leave home without it.
You know what they say? What is it? First to first, make no mistake. All others emulate. So, you know, you're just making sure. First to first, make no mistake. All others emulate. So
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. See, Randy, this is why, again, you got to have black media, that's black-owned media, that's on the spot, because the reality is, ain't nobody in mainstream media was going to get that.
No. No.
It was so real. It was so authentic and real. Like, it was just two brothers, like, cutting it up. And, you know, that's what we want to see, because that's us. That's us. That's how we do. And so I love it. And you know how we like to throw back quotes from movies, although we're not the ones who usually make them. That was epic in itself. But yeah, it was. I just love it.
You good, brother?
Well, look, that's what we do. And then, of course, while we sitting here, Jason Johnson let's just walk his ass all up in here. You know, he all mad. Y'all know Jason. That Jason now he like, damn, I'm getting paid by MSNBC, so I got to step off because he didn't get permission to come on. But you see how black he is. We live, and he come over here dapping up DeMario. He know damn well you can hear me talking, and like you know I'm live. You know, and he coming here with his Mr. Rogers ass sweater on, you know. Yeah, coming like, yeah, that's his style. Looking like Mr. Rogers in here. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Nah, this is a black show. It's a beautiful day in the hood over here because we got our own black subdivision over here. See, everybody else over there.
Listen to the music.
Right.
This is black. This is black up in here.
Y'all know this is the blackest show out here. Y'all know this. Y'all know how we do. So ain't no sense in playing around. Y'all know how we do. So that's right. So Jason dropped by. Hey, Jason, go tell all the other black journalists if they want to see some color. Tell them drop on by.
Hey.
Tell them we going to have some short ribs delivered a little bit later and some beef tips.
And Jason, when you tell them they put Tiffany Cross back on the air, damn it.
Yeah, tell them come back over here. We're going to have some peach cobbler and some chocolate cake and some pound cake over here. Just letting y'all know. All right, so let's. Oh, my goodness. I told y'all, this is why all y'all right now, y'all should be texting and telling all y'all friends to tune into to Roland Martin Unfiltered right now. Y'all should be telling. We should have 10,000 people on YouTube right now. Tell them y'all turn away from the rest of these people because they ain't gonna see what else. My man Omar Dorsey, y'all, from Queen Sugar, and of course from BMF, he's gonna be here. He hit me up about 8:30. And so I'm waiting to see else who's rolling through. So all kind of people are going to be coming through here. So y'all know I'm going to be grabbing all kind of folks, letting y'all know. So my intention was to go off at 8 and come back. But actually, I might stay up.
Hey, I'm down.
Let's do this here. We got some early results are coming in. Have y'all put them in? Just so y'all know, I cannot see as small as monitor. So Henry was like, we got some results. I'm like, I can't read that little bit as monitor. So do this here. Pull that monitor closer. Pull the results up. I'm trying to pull them up right now so I can see. Like, literally, y'all, I got good eyesight, but damn, little 7-inch monitor. First of all, I ain't even reading that. Now, put that back. That's 0.63 results. I ain't even reading that. Put that up. I thought we had like at least 15-20% in. I'm not going to read no 0.63. So if y'all at home, y'all saw what's on the screen, 0.63% of the votes in. That ain't nothing. So I ain't going to read that. Let me do this here. While somebody said we can see it. Yeah, y'all can see it. I'm not going to sit here and see it. Hey, control room, do me a favor. Get the phone lines ready. I might go to the phone lines. What the hell? I might do that, give folks the opportunity to call in. You know, we'll see what we do. And again, see, when you own it, you can do what the hell you want to do. So get the phone lines ready. Let me do this here, y'all. I'll give you an update on a couple of other stories that we've been covering. Let's see here. In Fort Worth, it was the second day of testimony in the murder trial of the former Texas cop, Aaron Dean, who shot and killed Atatiana Jefferson. Today, Dean's partner, Officer Carol Darch, took the stand. She testified that she never saw Jefferson's gun on the scene and never heard Dean announce seeing a weapon. The court took a brief recess when Darch asked for a moment to compose herself while testifying about Zion Carr. He is the 8-year-old young brother, the 11-year-old nephew of Jefferson, who testified yesterday. Of course, Zion Carr, it was with her the night that Dean was killed. Dean is facing up to 99 years in prison. Do we have any video of Darch? Is there any video? If we don't, there he is. Okay, go ahead and roll the testimony of Darch. Okay, all right. So don't have her testimony, and so that trial continues in Fort Worth. After a 3-year investigation, a New York jury has convicted. First of all, I'm sorry. I want to do this here. Donald Trump, yeah, we know what happened right there. Okay, whatever. Found guilty. Okay, we know he a fraud towards his organization. But I got to show y'all this here. So today, there was a ceremony in Washington, D.C., the Congressional Gold Medal ceremony, where they gave it to the law enforcement officers who protected the Capitol on January 6th. Y'all got to see this video. Representatives of the police, they shook hands with Senator Chuck Schumer, and they refused to shake the hands of Republicans. Watch this.
Good.
Watch McConnell stick his hand out. And it's like, nope, 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 hell no, nope, nope, hell no, nope, hell no.
No. Look at Nancy.
No.
She's like,
they said, hell no, we ain't shaking y'all hands. Those family members, Randy,
nope,
they later said it was insulting to see Republicans stand there with the gold medal, knowing full well if they protected Donald Trump, would not impeach him, and if they have not stood up for those Capitol law enforcement officers. In fact, one of the cops that they said that he was mocked by Metropolitan police officers because at today's ceremony, so that shows you these folks don't care about law enforcement, but these families, the members and these cops, they said there's no way in the world they would have shook their hands knowing full well how they have treated these law enforcement officers. So I say that's how you do it. I'm not shaking your hand for the cameras.
I was so proud. I was so proud. I have watched that video. I have put it on replay because I just love when people, again, it goes back to courage, and they say, I don't care who you are. You did not represent my child. I mean, this woman lost her child, and she called him out. She said, they're two-faced. It's like they're two-faced. They say one thing, but then they do another. And I'm paying attention, and I wouldn't dare shake his hand. I loved it. And I
thought it was awesome, Mustafa.
Yeah, I love the look on
I'm sorry,
the
Randy,
face.
go ahead. Randy, go ahead.
I'm going to say the look on Mitch McConnell's face, I mean, he just looks in complete shock, like that he can't believe that he's being dissed. I mean, just publicly dissed. So, yeah, that made it even more pleasurable that he was shocked.
Mustafa?
McConnell, McCarthy, and the rest of that crew, they were complicit in coming up to January 6th by not addressing, many of the things that Donald Trump had done to that moment of really whipping up folks all across the country of misinformation and lies. And then even after January 6th, in a moment when they could actually really show some leadership by addressing what happened in that moment, they continued to be silent for a while. And then they tried to downplay what happened in January 6th. So I'm glad that all the Capitol Hill police, and, I know a few of them well, that they said, you know what, we're not going to allow you to actually sully this moment by us shaking your hand and allowing, kind of co-signing on the things that you did before January 6th and after January 6th. So, I salute them for standing up for doing the right thing and not allowing these folks to have a photo op.
That reminded me of, hey, let me know if y'all find that video. I think, DeMario, it was the John Lewis funeral when, I think it was Congressman John Lewis's funeral when they shook the hand of Chuck Schumer and walked right past McConnell, and Schumer goes,
I'm proud, just as Randy stated, of that family, just keeping it real. That parent, they lost a son who died because of what happened on January 6th, and the very people that defended Trump, why would they want to shake their hand? And I think that's what it takes in this country. We cannot have, they always talk about unity. You can't unify with people that want to kill you, people that want to degrade you, discriminate against you, treat you less than. And I think they showed that example. And they did it with class. They didn't cuss them out. They didn't push them. They didn't spit at them. They just literally said, I'm not going to acknowledge that because you don't deserve acknowledgement. Roland, I also want to talk about Atatiana Jefferson. I think it's very important that we we really center that case right now and really center it back to what we hear with Senator Warnock. You know, we're having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying myself. But I see my sister, Dr. Crutcher, over there, and I think about, you know, her twin brother, Terrence Crutcher, who was shot with his hands up in the air. And that was 6 years ago. And now Tatiana, here we are doing the same thing, going through another trial. And at this trial in Fort Worth, this black woman who was killed inside of her own home, playing video games with her nephew, is killed, and the jury took 3 years to get this thing to trial, and there is not one black person on the jury. So I'm very concerned that this officer, who should be convicted, I'm very concerned that he will not be convicted, but I'm glad that the Jefferson family, has advocates that are fighting on her behalf, people like Dr. Crutcher, who's doing this work throughout this nation. And while we need Senator Warnock back in the Senate so we can still push to get legislation and real police reform, we still need the George Floyd Policing Act. We still need to abolish qualified immunity. We still need to make sure that these officers in these police departments are not getting weapons of war. We still need more pattern and practice investigations by the Department of Justice. And that's what this is about. This is what this election is about. This is why people stood in line, because they knew what was on the line. This is why we're here. We're having a good time. But at the end of the day, we want to see our brother get elected, your frat brother, our black brother, get elected to the Senate. And then every day that he's elected, we have to push him to do what's right on behalf of black people, and we have to support him and support everyone else that's fighting on behalf of black people in the Senate, the House, and throughout this nation, your county commissioners, your city councilors, everyone that is helping us, we need to help them help us.
Absolutely, folks. We are here at the Marriott Marquis Ballroom C, where Senator Raphael Warnock is holding his victory party. It is 7:48 Eastern Standard Time. The doors have opened, and so as you can see, folks are filing in to the ballroom floor as we speak. I'm going to get a read in a second on some of the folks who are here, who we are interested in talking to. We're going to try to have them brought over to have a conversation with us, and we look forward to doing that. And so, folks, you're watching live coverage right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered of the runoff race between incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. Early vote totals are about to come in. They're already starting to come in. We're going to be seeing those in a moment. And so we're looking forward to sharing that data with you as well. And, of course, many of us are hoping for a victorious night for Senator Warnock as to return him to Washington, D.C. for a full 6-year term representing Georgia in the United States Senate. And you know this is a black party because they're playing all of the black line dance wedding songs.
Cameo right now.
All of them. We got Candy, Cameo. Earlier we had Kool in the Gang.
New Edition was playing?
Yeah, New Edition. So you know any moment now we're going to get some DeBarge. We probably going to get some Lenny Williams.
May get some Atomic Dog.
That ain't going to happen.
May get some Atomic Dog.
I can guarantee you we ain't going to hear Atomic Dog.
May get some Atomic Dog.
I can guarantee you. The Alphas already took care of that. Y'all, don't forget, download the Black Star Network app. Available on all platforms. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. You can also support us in what we do. Of course, by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Of course, you can check us out. See your ticket money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSmartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And, of course, get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at all bookstores. Download your copy on Audible and get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Folks, let me know. We'll try to get Latasha Brown, co-founder of Black Voters Matter, and some other folks over to our location when we come back. So let me go to the break, pay some bills, and I'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered with Black Star Network live in Atlanta.
Is it just me? Or does it feel like we've been here before? The whole country's finished voting, and only us left. You'd think Herschel Walker would want to explain what he'd do in the Senate if he actually wants to represent Georgia. Instead, he repeats the same lies, trying to distract from what we all know is true about him. But I think Georgians will see his ads for what they are. Don't you? I'm Raphael Warnock, and yes, we're doing this again. That's why I approve this message.
You ever watch a stupid movie late at night hoping it's going to get better, don't get better, but you keep watching it anyway? Because the other night I was watching this movie. I was watching this movie called Freak Night, or some type of night, but it was about vampires. I don't know if you know vampires are cool people.
What the hell is he talking about?
Is he serious? Is he for real?
But I'm going to tell you something that I found out. A werewolf can kill a vampire. Did you know that?
What is he talking about?
I never knew that, so I didn't want to be a vampire anymore. I want to be a werewolf.
Oh, my gosh.
He's talking about vampires and werewolves right now.
Y'all serious about this, right? So I've been telling this little story about this bull out in the field.
What on
earth? And 3 of them are pregnant.
There's no substance. There's nothing.
So you know you got something going on.
It makes me want to laugh, and then it makes me think we're in trouble.
But all he cared about is kept his nose against the fence, looking at 3 other cows that then belonged to him. Now all he had to do is eat grass.
This video is ridiculous. That's 35 seconds of my life I'll never get back.
Why would I want someone like that leading the state of Georgia?
Our good air decided to float over to China, bad air.
Unbelievable.
So when China gets our good air, their bad air gotta move.
It's all the same air.
Not only does it make no sense, I don't even understand what he thinks he's saying.
So it moves over to our good air space. And now we gotta clean that back up.
I sit and watch these on Twitter, and I'm like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Like, literally, what is he talking about?
He's completely unqualified for this really, really serious job. No one's watching this and being like, oh, man, that guy's got it together.
And sometimes, like, I read through the comments because I'm like, is anybody actually understanding, or are we just sitting here wasting time?
It is embarrassing. Let's call it what it is. It is embarrassing.
They just care about getting a yes man, somebody that had just punched the button.
I think it's a risk to me and millions of Georgians to put this man in a position of power.
Let's call it what it is. This is embarrassing as hell.
At all. I mean, well, you know.
Hi, I'm Israel Houghton with Israel and New Breed.
What's up, what's up? I'm Dr. Ricky Dillard, the choir master.
Hey, yo, peace, world. What's going on? It's the Love King of R&B, Raheem Devon, and you're watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We are live here in Atlanta, folks, at the Senator Raphael Warnock campaign headquarters. Of course, it is a huge night, folks, here in Atlanta. It is going to determine who is going to be the U.S. Senator from Georgia for the next 6 years. Democrats want to be reelected to give them a 51-49 advantage in the United States Senate. Republicans would love to have it as a 50-50, so that's why they nominated Herschel Walker, who was a terrible candidate and be an awful United States Senator, but they want a flunky in that particular position. And so we've been here. Folks are coming in. They're lining up all outside. As I said, this room is filling up extremely quickly. On the other side here, joining us right now, Tiffany Crutcher, of course, Justice for Greenwood. Her brother Terrence Crutcher was shot and killed by police in Tulsa. We covered that story extensively. And there was no justice in that particular case. And Tiffany, one of the reasons why we need a Senator Raphael Warnock as opposed to Senator Herschel Walker for the George Floyd Justice Act. Senator Tim Scott didn't do his job in moving it forward, and so the effort to bring that back, try to get Democrats to move on that, is vitally important.
Absolutely, Roland. First, let me say just thank you for being you. This is what it's all about, black media, just seeing the lack of diversity in the press room, but to see you cover the issues that are important to us, I really appreciate it. And you're absolutely right. I was in those rooms with Senator Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham trying to get that Justice and Policing Act across the finish line, and we got let down. Tim Scott called and said, hey, it's dead. And you know, of course, I was upset because my brother's dead, and I'm just really tired of these elected officials playing politics with our life or getting to decide if we live or die. And so this race is vitally important to me. The reason why I'm here on ground is to make sure we get the right representation and that the people who care about our issues are elected to office so they can echo our voice. We saw what happened. I talked with Senator Joe Manchin last year, and he went ice chest on us. He didn't even do what he promised me he would do when we had that conversation. And so I'm excited. I have great expectancy in my heart tonight. I just feel like we're going to pull it through, and a lot of things can change.
You know, this is, these elections, and again, I made this point earlier, why these elections matter. People talk about, well, this is centered just from Georgia. No, the reality is they are voting on issues like the Georgia Flow Justice Act, which has an impact people all across this country. And so we all should have an invested interest in who is a senator from Georgia and a senator from North Carolina and a senator from Texas. That's and right. On and on and on.
That's right. That's right. And, history is repeating itself. I was telling DeMario just a few seconds ago, 5 years ago today, I was in Alabama on the ground. It was a year after Terrence was killed, not knowing where to go, who could help, because Betty Shelby had got, acquitted, for killing my brother, Terrence Crutcher. And so I found myself, turning my anger into advocacy and campaigning really hard to get Doug Jones elected. And we did that in the state of Alabama. And here I am today, 5 years later, on the ground in Georgia, fighting hard, knocking doors, making calls to make sure that Senator Warnock is reelected with Atatiana Jefferson on my mind. I talked with the sisters on yesterday, first day of the trial. I've reached out to them today just to encourage them because I've been through the same thing, of course, they're heartbroken to have to relive, the tragic murder of their sister. And so we've created this community of support for each other. But this is why I'm here. This is my motivation, to make sure that what happened to Atatiana Jefferson and to Terrence doesn't happen again. And it's going to take us getting the right people in office, and I'm hopeful tonight.
And that's the thing that a lot of people, really don't understand. All of these families were coming together, trying to get this bill passed, and unfortunately, more families are added to it based upon police shootings. I was looking at Samuel Singway's coverage showing more people have been killed by cops this year than any other year.
Even Capitol police officers, and the fact is the Republicans don't care. We saw it today. You just talked about the families who had to endure the people who we elect to serve us endorse what happened on January 6th, endorse Donald Trump. And I just think it's disingenuous to even have them there present, when their families are still grieving what happened. These people don't care about blue lives. They don't really care about backing the blue. All they care about is power. All they care about is their economic status. And they don't care about the communities that's been marginalized, especially black people who's been over here for 400 years. And so, we're going to keep fighting. And I know Georgia's tired, but I truly believe, based on what I've seen over the past 48 hours with my brother, my mentee, Greg Robinson, who came and helped really restructure the campaign. Just by 2 o'clock today, they had knocked 150,000 doors today. By 3 o'clock today, we had made 408,000 calls. And, Georgians were excited. We had got a lot of callers who said they had already voted. They're headed to vote. They're going to make sure they stand in line no matter how long it takes. And so, again, I'm expecting victory on tonight. But, again, it's so much bigger than this. We need to make sure that we elect people in this country who can actually stop, what's happening. Our democracy is at stake, Roland.
Absolutely. Tiffany Crutcher, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do.
Mustafa, I want to go to you because we talk about the type of bills that come up in the United States Senate. You're very much involved in environmental activism. And we know Republicans all too often don't believe in climate change. They want to continue to fund the fossil fuel industry. And so the reality is if we're going to confront something without climate, it's going to require Democrats, frankly, controlling the levers of power to get it done.
Yeah, we've got some really important pieces of legislation that are coming up, and we need Senator Warnock to be there to continue to champion them. You know, we just lost Congressman McCeach, and he was one of the folks who helped to bring forward the Environmental Justice for All Act. But we need folks both on the Senate side and the House side to be able to make that become a reality in 2023 and to stop having our people die from toxic pollution. We've got the Farm Act that's coming up in 2023. And we also know that that's going to have a big impact on Georgia and a number of other locations across our country. So having Senator Warnock there, along with other like-minded individuals, can make sure that that Farm Act, that those dollars that are going to go into that they actually are going to make it to the communities who need them, you know, whether it's through WIC or a number of other things that are part of that process of making sure that kids, you know, have the breakfasts that they need in the morning, and also making sure that we're thinking critically about, you know, how climate change is impacting, you know, our food stock and what's going to happen playing out. So you got to have folks who care. You got to also have folks who are intelligent, and that's why having Senator Warnock there is so critically important, because these are tough issues, but they're issues that we can actually win on, and we can actually build stronger foundations underneath of vulnerable communities and others. So that's why I'm excited that he's going to get reelected, or at least we're praying that that becomes a reality, because we're going to need individuals who will fight and who will stand, you know, stand on the front lines and make sure that these pieces of legislation have the reflection of our communities and that there's real accountability.
I can move the computer to the left.
And Randy, I'll give a perfect example. Republicans now control the House. Well, here's one of the problems. You had committees on the House Financial Services Committee led by Congresswoman Maxine Waters dealing with redlining, dealing with diversity. Republicans now control that. They don't give a damn. And so because Democrats no longer control the House, you're not going to have those issues, diversity, equity, inclusion, now being at the fore. They've been attacking DEI in the U.S. Army, in the Pentagon, and other departments. And so this, when we're talking about power and who controls power, who is in control determines what issues gets addressed.
100%. I mean, we cannot look at who's in power in the United States and say that there's a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. You could just take a look. Then we don't have to do a study to see that. And of course, we all are going to advocate for things that are in our best interests, are those around us. And these are people who live extraordinarily segregated lives. So they are interested in issues that do not include or integrate us whatsoever. And that has been shown time and time again. So when we are voting, we have to put people in office who think about us in every single area.
Indeed, indeed. All right, folks, here's what we're going to do. And it is 8:04 here. And so we've got our control room that's back in D.C., and then we're going to be here. And so the polling results, the numbers are still coming in. Okay. All right. Way to go, Anthony. Really, Anthony? Anthony, really? Really? Really, Anthony? Lord, now we still on air. We still on air. He knocked off 2 cameras and the lights. Y'all would think that the head production person in charge will be more careful and not to hit the damn power button that control the lights and the cameras. Well, what you doing? Y'all, he literally dropped a wireless microphone pack on the power. You know what? I should make Anthony come on camera and look at y'all so y'all see what he looked like, what he just did. All right, folks. Here's the deal. They're about to pray in here. So here's what we're going to do. And so it's a lot of y'all who are watching right now. So what we want you to do is we actually want you to we're actually going to sign off. We're going to come back on the air in about an hour for continuing coverage from Atlanta. That way more results are going to be in as well. And so there are a lot of you watching right now on YouTube. Make a note. We'll be back live at 9:30. We're going to come back live at 9:30 here on Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. Right now, prayers are taking place from the stage up here. And so we're going to take a break. Give our folks the opportunity to stretch themselves. Give our crew in D.C. the opportunity to head home. Then we'll take over all of our switching and live coverage right here in Atlanta. And so let me thank Mustafa. Let me thank Randy. DeMario will be back with me when we come back with our live coverage. So, again, I want to thank both of y'all for joining us today. And so we're going to have more interviews with people here in Atlanta. And so, folks, take an hour break. And again, we'll see y'all at 9:30. So all of you who are watching on YouTube right now, it's almost 4,000 of you. Folks who are on Facebook and Instagram and Twitch, the Black Star Network, come back in 1 hour and 23 minutes. We'll be back on the air at 9:30. And so we look forward to seeing you for our continuing coverage of the U.S. Senate runoff here in Georgia. And so we'll be back. So y'all, thanks a bunch. Take care. And we will see you at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Holla.